Welcome back to my channel. If you have been following me on social media, on Snapchat, Twitter, and everything, I've been talking about a big announcement / change with my channel that's been coming up, and this is it. My channel from this day forward will now be called Roast Reviews. Don't worry, we're still all friends here, but it's not going to be the friend zone anymore. It's going to be Roast Reviews, and the purpose of this channel is really to review movies. We can review music, anything that you guys want us to review. But since both of us work in a movie theater, easy access to review movies and be able to give you our thoughts on it, sometimes like when it's actually coming out, so you can see if you want to go watch it or not. As you can see, I have Alaysia with me. You've seen her in previous videos of mine, and she's basically now going to be a co-host with me every week. Yeah. We're gonna watch movies together. This is both of our channels now. Yeah. I hope you guys like this idea, because this is what the channel's gonna be now.
Like Dusty said, we would be doing reviews on movies that are usually coming out like that weekend, but also we would like to take like requests. If there's like a certain movie that like you want us to review or get our opinions about, we do that also.
Yeah. And it's really just all about opinions. Obviously, people can be really opinionated and try to force their ideas on some other people. And these are just our opinions on the movies that we watch. We're gonna give it some thought. It's not just gonna be like, oh yeah, I liked it. Without further ado, the two movies that we are reviewing in this video are Bohemian Rhapsody and The Nutcracker. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, but that came out last week. Yes, it did.
You're right.
We watched it last week, and we just have not had time to sit down and record our reviews on it. So this is kind of like our kickoff roast reviews #1.
Currently drinking a pod from a Keurig. I don't know what they're called. Oh, K-Cups. The K-Cups.
Yes.
So this K-Cup flavor is donut shop, and then the cream that I used was Irish cream.
Italian sweet cream. I am also drinking a K-Cup. So Keurig, if you want to sponsor us, we'll continue using K-Cups. But I am using, I don't even know what the brand is, but it's just some regular medium roast coffee, and I put the Italian sweet cream in it as well.
I have a cool cup. I painted it.
Oh yes.
Well,
We're gonna go ahead and get into reviewing the movies that we're gonna review. The first part of these are just gonna be generalizations, so if you haven't watched the movie, you don't have to worry about any spoilers right now. We will put a disclaimer in every video saying that when we're gonna start talking about spoilers, because you can't really get a full review unless you actually talk about what happens in the movie. The first movie we're gonna review is Bohemian Rhapsody. What are your general thoughts on it?
General thoughts. The entire movie, like, it just makes you want to like dance and like sing along in your seat. It was just good. It makes you happy and sad.
It really did warrant some emotions. There are parts that will make you laugh because Freddie Mercury as a person really was just an eccentric being. That was portrayed really well in the movie, I thought, utilizing the teeth piece that was in the movie. That was actually pretty cool. As far as accuracy goes, I wouldn't say that it was completely accurate to how things actually happened, like in real life. If you're looking to go watch this movie for history's sake, I probably just wouldn't read too much into it. I really liked the movie, not just because of the acting. I really liked it because the way that it was put together was never like a lull. There was never like a part that was really boring. Like I wasn't being like, okay, what's coming next or whatever. It just like keeps moving to where you're staying entertained the whole time. I appreciated that.
And like it, at some points it seemed like it was just a Freddie Mercury movie, but then also it gave a lot of like backstory to how the band like became and like their practices went and like the certain recording like studio time, but then also like they made it seem like it was gonna be more of a Freddie Mercury type of movie. And so like when like you go into watching it thinking that, and then you notice that they didn't get much of his solo career, and like that was just left out.
Yeah, I do agree that this movie could have been way longer because there's so much backstory. There's what, 4 people in this band?
Yeah.
There's 4 people in this band. That's a lot of backstory that you could have in it. But it mostly just gave Freddie Mercury's throughout the movie.
Warning!
Okay, so the first thing that really struck me is actually like near the end of the movies. The whole Live Aid concert, I really appreciated that they showed their whole set.
Yes.
It wasn't just small clips of the songs and flashbacks and stuff like that. They legitimately showed a whole Queen set, song after song after song. Like it was, that was really cool to me.
They replicated the stadium, so
Yeah.
like it looked very accurate to how it actually was. Like the number of people that like looked to be there, and then like how they were performing and the songs that they chose.
I would say that's probably my favorite part of the whole movie because I honestly wanted to watch this movie because of all the music in it.
Yes.
And that was what gave you most of the music and really showed you how Queen was on stage and like during the whole set and everything. And kind of also the behind the scenes because it was really close up for them. And you could see kind of like behind the scenes how they felt about what they were doing.
Yes.
And I thought that was very cool.
I guess one flaw, the first flaw of the movie, how they met. So like how Freddie Mercury decided to come up with like Queen. Apparently he went to college or like to a school with one of the people who was in the band, like with Smile or something.
Okay.
And so that's how they like met and like they teamed up. It wasn't how the movie portrayed them to be. Like he would go to this like nightclub where they would like play all the time, and then they lost their lead singer and they needed. It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
The second thing wasn't that big. It was just his backstory, like Freddie Mercury, like where he was from and like where his family originated. How the movie said that he was from like a certain like family that wasn't the correct family, I think.
But there was another change, that the meeting for Jim Hutton.
Yes.
That was very different. In the movie, it portrayed Freddie Mercury had a house party, and Jim Hutton was there, like cleaning up and stuff like that. Freddie groped him and asked him if he could buy him a drink, and they started talking and stuff. What really actually happened in their meeting was they met at a nightclub at first, and then Jim Hutton was with someone else at the time, so when Freddie asked if he could buy him a drink, he said no, and then they kind of just parted ways for a while, and then they met again later on. And then they just kind of hit it off because Jim Hutton wasn't with anybody anymore, so that was different.
His marriage with Mary, or how I guess it ended, wasn't really portrayed well in the movie because apparently she stuck with with Queen, and like she helped them like as far as like bookings and like setting up different things and like doing interviews possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But in the movie they made it seem like she just dropped off and like went about her own life, which isn't what happened.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't come back until like the very end for that big concert.
Like we said, if you're trying to watch this for history's sake, you probably are not gonna like it very much.
Or like you already know everything about the band and you're like going, you're like, yeah. No. It's like you're gonna be a little disappointed.
You're gonna be like, oh, that didn't happen. That didn't happen that way.
The music, that's what's most
Oh my
important.
gosh.
That was accurate.
Yeah, they were making Bohemian Rhapsody.
I love it. I think that's my favorite part is like the making of Bohemian Rhapsody because it's so random and so different. Like,
swinging speakers from side to side.
just making all these different sounds that you would never expect to like hear. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Like that was my favorite part. I loved it.
Well, I think that's pretty much it for Bohemian Rhapsody. There was just so many good things about it that it kind of overshadowed any of the bad things for us. Very enjoyable movie.
Yes.
I would recommend going and watch that one.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have like a little scale going of kind of like a percentage of how bad the movie is. This is gonna be a twist. So you have Rotten Tomatoes, you have IMDb, and they all give percentages based on how good the movie is. So it's like, oh, okay, it's a 95% or it's an 80% or whatever. We are going to do it flipped. So we're going to talk about how roasted the movies are. For example, for Bohemian Rhapsody, I would give it a 10% roast rating.
I'd probably go with 15.
15%.
Just because I didn't know a lot about the band itself going in watching the movie, and so I was wanting a little bit something like more truthful to the actual story, and then me having to like look up what actually happened in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
Like I don't like doing that, but overall it was a really good movie. So I just 15% for me.
Okay. I would give it the 10% mostly just because of that history aspect of it. Obviously, there's ways to be able to be more truthful when you're making a biography movie about something. I guess I just really liked the music so much, so that's what makes it a 10% and not a 15%. Moving on, the Nutcracker. I'm gonna start with my rating on this one. My rating for the Nutcracker is probably an 85% roast.
90%
roast.
90% roast.
I didn't like it. I was very disappointed, mostly because Disney has put out time and time again really good movies, and this movie, it is only about an hour and a half long. I would say it needs to be longer.
Just know that it was a bad movie.
Yes, I didn't think that the acting was very good. The visuals were good. The only reason why this movie is not getting like 100% roasted is because the visuals are really good. Disney always does really well in CGI.
And like, there's no story point at all.
Yeah.
Like, you barely get anything from what you're watching in the trailer, and then when you actually watch the movie, you hope for more, and you did not get any of that.
Yeah. We're just gonna get into.
It's easier to do specifics for this movie
way
because
easier
like,
to do the specifics.
there's so many.
So the first thing that I put down was that this movie was very reminiscent of Narnia. And I think I looked it up, and Disney did Narnia too. Because you have this little girl who goes into this different dimension, different world. When she gets there, she is in a forest full of snow, doesn't know what's going on, isn't freaking out, because why would you freak out if you know? And the story seemed like it was going somewhere at the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, we'll give it a chance. It just kind of really did not go anywhere.
I went into this movie already not liking it. I didn't want to watch it because it reminded me a lot of Alice in Wonderland. And I definitely got that feel. Like, literally, the girl goes from being inside her, like, godfather's house to being in the forest.
Yes.
That's Chronicles of Narnia, Alice in Wonderland. The girl gets lost, but no one notices. No one notices. They did, however, kind of offer an explanation to how no one noticed, but still, you're just like, the amount of time that she was there, you would think that, like, yes, they're moving a lot slower. It had to, like, pass more.
So already we were like, okay, we already know what to expect. And that kind of leads into, this movie was very predictable.
Yes.
We predicted the big plot twist, like, way early on. For me, what really, like, solidified me knowing what was about to happen was Keira Knightley's performance. It was really not that good. I'm not trying to bash on Keira Knightley because I actually really do like her in Pirates of the Caribbean. And I mean, that's the main role that I know her in, but any other movie I've seen her in, she's been really, really good. It's just this movie specifically, it seems like she tried too hard to make her voice high-pitched, and she seemed too happy and too nice. I mean, like, obviously she's part of the realm of sweets, but I definitely called that she was going to be the bad one all along.
The Four Realms.
Oh my gosh.
First, just the title of this movie is The Nutcracker and the Four Realms.
Yes.
First of all, the Nutcracker was in the movie.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
No major part. There was no point of him being there.
Yeah.
He barely got any, like, movie time.
Yeah, there was no
And, like,
explanation of. They were like, oh yeah, we named it the Nutcracker and the Four Realms. We need to put a Nutcracker in there just for consistency's sake, but not really give him much. It's kind of like it was an afterthought.
And then the Four Realms part, you get to see the realms for like 0.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's literally they give her just, like, it's kind of like a montage, but the montage is only like a couple minutes, if that at all. It's probably like more like 30 seconds to a minute long of her just kind of traveling through the realms, and you get to see them, but there's no backstory on why the realms are the realms they are. Why sweets? Why flowers? Why snowflakes? Why entertainment or whatever it was? Amusement.
First, those are really random
They are
things.
very random.
They have nothing to do with each other. It does not make sense at
No,
all.
it really doesn't. With an hour and a half, that really doesn't give you that much time to explain that at all. Because none of the movie even really took place in anywhere except for the realm of amusement and the middle ground where the castle was.
That didn't even have a name.
No. So you have these leaders. That's the only thing you really see of the realms. You have the leaders that are representing what their realms are.
Yeah.
But
They
there's
look
no
like-
backstory on how they were elected or if they were chosen, like what each realm does. is there any purpose? You may as well have just called them realms 1, 2, 3, and 4, because there's really no point to naming them.
The costumes were cool.
Yes.
But I got the feeling of the Hunger Games, like the capital, like how extravagant they were.
Yes.
What was her name? What's it like? Sugar Plum. She looked like Effie Trinket, and she sounded
really
like Effie Trinket.
She really did.
Since we have been dogging on it for a little bit, one good thing that I did appreciate was that they included some of the ballet. Like
That's
ballet
true.
was included in like maybe 3 parts if you're counting like the very end of the movie. So like it didn't really offer much of like the actual like ballet, and like some of the music was accurate too to like the Nutcracker, but like it was just a nice little additive, like because that's all people know about the Nutcracker is like, oh, it's a ballet or it's the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
Either
The
one.
part that they show for the ballet is mostly them just trying to explain what happened with the realms, because obviously from the trailer you get that the realm of amusement, which they didn't name in the trailer, but the realm of amusement apparently has been banished for some odd reason. That's really kind of like the fall of the realms. This is really what they show with the whole Nutcracker dance and everything. But back to the bad things, because there really isn't that many good things for us. We didn't really like it. There are toy soldiers that Sugar Plum, whenever you discover she's the bad one or whatever, she makes these toy soldiers grow. Like she
Brings them to life.
yeah, brings them to life, and they grow really big to be her army, I guess, to kind of shut out the realm of amusement. Mother Ginger is like the leader of the realm of amusement, so they're trying to basically kill her. I guess Sugar Plum's trying to kill her. And from the get-go, when she first made the first group of them, I looked at those and said, did Disney run out of money? They were just way too cartoony.
It just didn't make sense.
Compare that to.
Like, apparently, in the movie, all of these characters that you see in these costumes that are like super cool, they all were created by whatever the little girl's mother, like she was the queen and she created them all. And they all look human. None of them looked fake.
Yeah.
And so when Sugar Plum used this machine to bring these soldiers to life, why did they still look like toys?
Yeah, because even when she would shrink people, like she would shrink people that were trying to get in her way, and they would turn into toys.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't the toys turn into human? It's just kind of inconsistent. This movie was very inconsistent. That being said, the whole Christmas trees thing.
The girl, when she comes through this big tree branch into the like a white snowy area with a whole bunch of trees, she asks the Nutcracker like where she is, and he's like, oh, you're in the Christmas tree forest. Cool.
Yeah. I was like,
Later,
alright.
fast forward to like the
Those
leader of the flowers.
yeah.
Okay, she's talking to that dude, and he's like, what's Christmas?
Yeah, she says something about Christmas in her world, and he says, what's Christmas?
How you gonna have Christmas trees but not know what Christmas is?
If you're planning on taking your kids to see this movie, be very aware that there are clowns in the realm of amusement that actually are very scary.
They're weird.
I will not be surprised if we have people coming out of the movie saying that they want their money back because their kids were scared.
I'd understand.
Just because
they were weird.
The reason why they're scary is because they're sporadic. They are jumping around, you don't know what they're doing, and like it doesn't really explain, like they don't talk really, they just kind of make noises and they go around really fast, and
Even
the
how,
way that
like,
it's shot
They were
is-
dressed to seem like they were a little bit more darker than an
Right.
actual like happy clown.
Yes. Kind of the last thing, like you go through the movie, you have your climax, you have the part that's all wrong, and then it gets all better again. Obviously, this has happened in countless movies. One small thing that I noticed was when everything went back to like being okay again, the editors decided to do a pan out on the castle. And when you see this pan out, it's like, oh, the sun's shining, like everything's back to good again, and you see that in movies, but usually you see that in movies where it's done a pan out where there's been clouds and everything's been dark, and then it would get light again, you know? There was never a moment in the movie that I realized that there was a pan out of the castle of it being like under siege or anything like that. It's always been beautiful, it's always been light, it's always
only area that had any darkness to it was the realm of amusement.
Yeah.
There's also no backstory to that. Like, we never knew what happened to the realm of amusement, or like exactly how it became to be so dark.
Yeah.
And like why. Like, we know
Like,
that she
who
was like
exactly casted her out?
exactly, because it definitely wasn't the queen when she was there, because like they were all
Yeah.
together.
Mhm.
It was until she left. That was one like random thing. Sugar Plum is the bad person in this movie. It was her idea to cast out Mother Ginger.
Mhm.
But if you have this one person who's not the queen, who's not the ruler, she's just another one person from another realm, telling you constantly, oh, this person's bad, she's doing this. Like, wouldn't you kind of like second guess, like, what's she trying to do?
Yeah. Like, how
right?
did she not get caught?
Exactly.
Because you can't plan to ban a leader of a realm and then like plan a whole thing without people knowing. This was a very small place.
And then why would they believe Sugar Plum over Mother Ginger?
Right.
Because like she just seemed like she was trying to do right the entire time and never did anything like bad to like
Right.
hurt anyone.
Yeah.
But it just did not make sense.
So, long story short, the movie was terrible.
Yes.
It was predictable.
Yes.
There was no consistency.
Yep.
Visuals were nice.
Until
But it
we
was
got to
just-
the toy soldiers.
Yeah,
but-
until the toy soldiers happened. I wouldn't recommend this movie. If you have any movie requests or music requests or anything that you want us to review, you can go ahead and put it in the comments below. If you have watched these movies, tell us what you think. Like we said, this is just our opinion. We want to know everybody's opinion because our opinion is not fact.
Nope.
It's just how we feel about it. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.